Hello students, today we will be solving Cambridge O-Level Mathematics Syllabus D from May-Jun 2015, Paper 1, Variant 1. Question number 1, it says evaluate 3 over 8 plus 1 over 3. So let's change this mixed fraction to improper fraction. So 3 ones are 3 plus 1, 4, so it will be 4 over 3. And the LCM of 8 and 3 is 24. Then 8 times 3 is 24, so 3 3s are 9, plus 3 times 8 is 24, 8 4s are 32. So 9 plus 32 is 41, so it will be 41 over 24. In part B, it says evaluate 5 minus 3 times within brackets 2 minus 1.4. So let's do the calculations within brackets first. So 2 minus 1.4 is 0.6. 3 times 0.6 is 1.8 and 5 minus 1.8 is 3.2. Question number 2. In the diagram, 6 small triangles are shaded. Shade one more small triangle so that the diagram will then have one line of symmetry. So this is the line of symmetry and this is the triangle that we need to shade so that it has one line of symmetry. In part B, the diagram below has rotational symmetry. Mark the center of rotational symmetry with a dot and write down the order of rotational symmetry. So this is the dot that is required, and this shape, there are many hexagons. And if you focus on these 3 hexagons, you can see that it is repeating over here and again over here. So it has 3 rotational symmetry about this point. So if this shape, these 3 hexagons is rotated 120 degree, it comes over here and then it comes over here. Meaning that the image will repeat itself after every 120 degrees. So 360 divided by 120 is 3. Question number 3. Express 3 by 4 as a fraction in its simplest form. So let's first convert this mixed fraction to improper fraction. So 4 3s are 12 plus 3 is 15, so it will be 15 over 4. And since it's in percentage, to have it in decimals, we need to divide it by 100. Or we can say 15 over 4 times the reciprocal of 100, which is 1 over 100. So we can say it is 15 times 1 is 15 and 4 times 100 is 400. Now if we divide the numerator and the denominator by 5, we get 5 3s are 15 and 5 8 is a 400. And since we cannot simplify it any further, hence the answer will be 3 over 80. In part B, it says arrange these fractions in order, beginning with the smallest. So we have 4 over 5, which we can multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2, that becomes 8 over 10. So we can say this is 0.8. 3 over 4 is 0.75. And for 31 over 40, let's do the division. So we have 31. In order to bring this 0, we need a decimal. So 40 times 7 is 280. Then after subtracting, we get 300. Again, 40 times 7 is 280. After subtracting, we get 200. So 40 times 5 is 200. So in decimals, 31 over 40 is 0.775. Now it is easier for us to recognize which one is the smallest. So it will be 3 over 4, then 31 over 40, and then 4 over 5. Question number 4. Correct to 6 decimal places, it is given that square root of 10 is this, and 3 1 over 6 is this. We need to find the difference between these two numbers. So since they have stated difference, that means we need to subtract. So let's take these values, so which is 3.166667 minus 3.162278, which gives us 0.004389, but we have to give our answer correct to two significant figures. And for significant figures, the number must start with any number other than 0. So it will be 0.44. In part B, it says estimate correct to the nearest whole number. The value of square root of this number squared plus this number squared. So since they are asking for the nearest whole number, we can say that 2.986, since this is 9, the nearest whole number will be 3. So we can say this is 3 squared plus, since this is 0, we can say the nearest whole number will be 4 squared. So 3 square is 4 plus 4 square is 16, which gives us square root of 25. So that means the answer will be plus minus 5. Question number 5. It is given that P is equals to 4 times 10 to the power 5 and Q is equals to 7 times 10 to the power 6. So expressing each answer in standard form, we need to find P square. So that means it will be 4 times 10 to the power 5 whole squared. So 4 square is 16 and 5 2s are 10. So it is 10 to the power 10. And since we need to express it in standard form, this 16 will become 1.6 times 10 to the power 11. Then we have P plus Q. So it is 4 times 10 to the power 5 plus 7 times 10 to the power 6. And what we can do for this question, we can split this power 10 to the power 6 into 10 times 10 to the power 5. Then we can say this is 4 times 10 to the power 5 and 7 times 10 is 70 times 10 to the power 5. Then we can take 10 to the power 5 common and we have 4 plus 70 within brackets. So that means it is 74 times 10 to the power 5, and in standard form it will be 7.4 times 10 to the power 6. Question number 6. A car manufacturer states that a particular car uses 5 liters of fuel in traveling 100 kilometers, produces 110 grams of CO2 for each kilometer traveled. Using this information to calculate the mass of CO2 produced by 1 liter of fuel, giving our answer in kilograms. So let's first extract the data. For 5 liters, it travels 100 kilometer and 110 grams of CO2 is produced for each 1 kilometer. We are considering the mass as X and we are using the proportion method to find the mass of CO2 produced by 1 liter of fuel. So what we can do, we can say X over 100 is equal to 1 over 5. So X is the mass that we need to find and 1 is the liter of fuel. And we know that for 100 kilometer, it uses 5 liters of fuel. So this is how the proportion method can be done. Then if we make X the subject, it becomes 100 over 5. So that means X is 20 kilometer. Sorry, X was not the mass. X was the distance that we need to find first. Then we can convert this value by multiplying with 110 to figure out how much mass of CO2 is produced. So since 110 grams of CO2 is produced for each kilometer traveled, and since it will be traveling 20 kilometer, therefore 110 times 20, that gives us 2200 gram. And since we need to answer in kilograms, if we divide this by 1000, we get 2.2 kilograms. So in the first step, the proportion method that we used, we kept the ratio of the distances in one side and the ratio of liters on the other side, respectively. Question number 7. The times taken by each member of a group of people to run 1 kilometer were recorded. The results are shown in the table. So these are the class widths. So we have from 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and 7 to 8. So we have equal class widths. And the frequencies are also provided, which is 0, 4, 5, 3, 1, 0. On the grid below, draw a frequency polygon to represent these results. We know that the frequency polygons, the points needs to be the midpoint of these class widths. So it will be 2.5, then 3.5, then 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and 7.5. And the y-axis will have the frequencies. And this is how the frequency polygon will look like. Question number 8. Find the integers n that satisfy 4n minus 3 lies between 20 and 30. So let's simplify this first. Let's make n in the middle. So in order to get rid of negative 3, we need to add positive 3. That means we need to add 3 on both sides as well. That makes it 23 less or equal to 4n less than 4n less than 33. Then to get rid of the 4, we need to divide all of them with 4. Then we end up getting 23 over 4 less than n less than 33 by 4. Now since n is an integer, let's do some calculations. We know that 6 times 4 is 24. 5 times 4 is 20. That means 23 by 4 will be 5 point something. Also, 9 fours are 36 and 8 fours are 32. That means 33 by 4 will be 8 point something. So the integers that lies between these two numbers have to be 6, 7, and 8. Question number 9. Y is inversely proportional to the square of x. Given that y equals to 3 and x equals to 2, we need to find y when x is equals to 5. So this set of value is given so that we can figure out the constant. So y is inversely proportional to the square of x. So we can say y is equal to k over x square. Then we use these two values to find the value of k. So it will be 3 equals k over 2 square, which is 4, and 4 3s are 12. So the value of k is 12. That means the equation will be y equals 12 over x square. And now since the value of x is 5, we can say it is 5 squared. So y will be 12 over 25. Question number 10. We need to evaluate PQ, and the matrix of P and Q are provided. So before we even start solving this sum, let's understand the dimensions of P and Q. So there is one row and three columns. So it is a 1 by 3 matrix. And this, we have three rows and two columns. So it's a 3 by 2 matrix. Of course, this multiplication can be done because these two numbers are the same, and the dimension of the result upon multiplying will be 1 times 2. That means there will be one row and two columns of the result. This logic will help you in case you are confused how the dimension of the final matrix will look like. So we need to multiply 3, 4 and -5 with these column, and we need to sum them as well. Then again we have to multiply 3, 4 and -5 with this column and also sum them. Simplifying, we get -3 plus 4 plus 0, 3 plus 0 plus 5, which gives us 1 and 8. Question number 11. Express 1 over x plus 2 minus 3 over x plus 1 as a single fraction in its simplest form. So the LCM for this equation will be the product of these two numbers, these two values in the denominator. So it is x times x plus 1. And since we have x in the denominator for the number 1, that means we need to multiply 1 with x plus 1. So it is 1 times x plus 1 plus, since we don't have any of the values in the denominator for the number 2, that means we need to multiply 2 with both of them. And for 3, we just need to multiply it with x. After expanding the brackets, we get x plus 1 plus 2x squared plus 2x minus 3x. Simplifying this, we get 2x squared plus 1 over x times x plus 1. Question number 12. Given that 6 to the power x equals 9, we need to write down the value of 6 to the power minus x. 6 to the power minus x is the same as 1 over 6 to the power x. That means it will be 1 over 9. For part B, 6 to the power x by 2 can be written as 6 to the power x whole to the power half. Because if we multiply x times half, we get x over 2. The reason why we have done this, so that we can substitute this value. So now we can say it is the same as 9 to the power half. That means the square root of 9, which is 3. And of course, since we are doing square root, it will be plus minus 3. In part C, we have 6 to the power 0 plus 6 to the power x. So this will be 1 plus 9, which is 10. Question number 13. In the diagram, the triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ. So it is already provided they are similar. You don't have to prove anything. And also there are a few more data which is provided. AB is 3 centimeter, BC is 8, YZ is 12, and ZX is 15. We need to calculate XY, which is this length. Before we even proceed finding the value of XY, I suggest that you draw two triangles next to each other representing ABC and XYZ such that these angles are placed in their respective positions. So first we draw ABC, and then we have one arc for this angle and two arcs for angle C. And now when we draw XYZ, we also have to make sure they look alike. So Y has one angle, that's why I have labeled it here, and Z has two angles, therefore I have labeled it here so that it looks the same. Then I have labeled their respective lengths. So this is 3, 8, 15, and 12. Now it is very easy for us to find the value of xy without making any silly mistake. So using the proportion method, of course, since the triangles are similar, we can take the help of ratio of their sides must also be equal. So xy, which is this, xy is representing AB, so we can say xy over 3 is equal to, we can take this value and this value since we know the values for both of them for this side. If we were to choose AC and XZ, it would not have been possible for us to figure out the value for XY as we don't know what is the value of AC. So we take two known values, and XY is for this triangle. That means we should be taking in the numerator on the right hand side the number 12 for this triangle, of course. So it will be 12 over 8. So xy is equals to 3 times 12 is 36 over 8. If we simplify this fraction by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 4, we get 9 over 2, which is the same as 4.5. In part B, we need to find the area of triangle XYZ. We are provided with the area for the triangle ABC. So area of XYZ, I always suggest that the value that you need to find needs to be placed on the top left side of the equation when you are using the proportion method. That way it is easier for us to find the value for it. So the ratio of their areas must be the square of their ratio of their sides. So area of XYZ over area of ABC, which is 10, is equal to 12 over 8 whole square. Since we are required to find the area, so we are squaring the ratio of their sides. Before we even square it, if it is possible for us to simplify, I highly recommend that you simplify. So if you divide the numerator and the denominator by 4, you get 3 over 2. Then we can proceed squaring. So it will be 9 over 4, and we can cross multiply 10. So it is 9 times 10 over 4, which is 90 over 4, or we can simplify 4 and 10 by dividing both of them with 2, and we get 45 by 2, which is the same as 22.5. Question number 14. It says a pie chart is used to illustrate the numbers of adults, girls, and boys in a group of people. The angles for the adults and girls are 80 and 120 respectively. The diagram shows part of the pie chart. We need to complete the pie chart. So since we are already provided with the angle for adults and girls, let's find the angle for boys. The total angle must be 360. So 360 minus 120 minus 80, which is 360 minus 200, which is 160. So the boys must represent 160 degree, followed by girls 120, and then adults 80. Using a protractor, you can provide this information in the pie chart. In part B, it says express the ratio of numbers of adults to girls to boys in the form ABC, where ABC are the smallest possible whole numbers. So adults, girls and boys, we have found their respective angles, which is 80, 120 and 160. Let's divide all of them with the smallest value. So that will be 80, 80, 80, of course. After dividing, we get 1 is to 3 over 2 is to 2. Now, since we need whole numbers, what we can do, we need to multiply all these values with 2. That makes 2 is to 3 is to 4. In part C, it says there are 6 more girls than adults. Calculate the number of people in the whole group. To solve this question, we need to make some equations with the given information. So it says there are 6 more girls than adults. That means in order to balance the equation, we have to add 6 with the adults so that it is equal to the number of girls. And if we make A the subject of the equation, it will be G minus 6. Let's consider this to be equation 1. And now let's deal with the ratio. Adult over girls is equal to 2 over 3. Again, if we make A the subject for the equation of the ratio, it will be 2G over 3. And let's consider this to be equation 2. Now, using both of this equation, we can say A is equals to A, of course. That means G minus 6 is equals to 2G over 3. Now, if we multiply with 3 with G minus 6, we get 3G minus 18 equals to 2G. Then if we make G the subject, so 3G minus 2G will be G is equals to 18. Now let's divide 18 by 3 because the ratio for the girls was 3 and we get 6. That means this is the value that needs to be multiplied with this ratio to get the actual values. So 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, and 6 times 4 is 24. So actual values are 12 is to 18 is to 24. Since they have asked us to calculate the number of people in the whole group, so we need to add them up and we get 12 plus 18 is 30 plus 24 is 54. Question number 15. We are provided with the points A and B. The line AB is mapped onto the line PQ by the translation 0 and minus 5. We need to find the coordinates of Q. So this is the line that is provided. After the translation, PQ moved down here. And how the calculation was carried out is by adding the translation with each of their individual coordinate. So 17 plus 0 minus 5 is 1, 2. That is the coordinate for P. And 6, 7 plus 0 minus 5 is 6, 2. That is the coordinate for Q. In part B, it says what special type of quadrilateral is ABQP. So it is a square. Then we are asked to find the area of the quadrilateral ABQP. Let's look at the diagram again. So since this is a square, we can just square the length to find the area. As you can see, the difference from 2 to 7 is 5, and also The difference from 1 to 6 is also 5. Therefore, it is a square, of course. So that means to find the area, we simply multiply 5 times 5 and that gives us 25. Question number 16. Express as a single matrix when these two are subtracted. So this is a very easy calculation. We have to do -1, which is -2. 1 minus 2 is -1. -3 minus -2 is -1. And -3 minus -5 is 0. Minus -5 is +5. In part B, we need to find the inverse for this matrix. So it will be 1 over, the determinant will be 1 times 3, which is 3, minus 5 times -1. That is the formula. AD minus BC. So 1 times 3 is 3, and minus 5 times -1 is -5. So that makes it positive. So 3 plus 5, and then we switch these two values and we change the signs for these two values. So it will be 3, 1, -5, 1. Or we can say 1 over 8, 3 minus 5, 1, 1. Then we can multiply 1 over 8 with each of the values inside the bracket, and we get 3 over 8, -5 over 8, 1 over 8, and 1 over 8. Question number 17. It says factorize completely 3 minus 12a square. So for this, what we can do, we can take 3 common and we can say it is 1 minus 4a square within brackets. Now, if you look closely, 1 is a square number, 4 is a square number. So we can say 1 minus 2a whole square within the second bracket. Then we can use the formula, which is a square minus b square is a plus b, a minus b. So 1 minus 2a whole square is 1 plus 2a and 1 minus 2a. So therefore, it will be 3 times 1 plus 2a times 1 minus 2a if we factorize it completely. In part B, it says factorize x square minus 6y plus 2xy minus 3x. In order to factorize, we need to rearrange this equation such that we have x square minus 3x plus 2xy minus 6y. By doing this rearrangement, we can take x common and we get x minus 3 within brackets, plus we can take 2y common and we get again x minus 3 within brackets. So the factors are x plus 2y times x minus 3. Question number 18. The universal set is x is an integer which lies between 40 and 50 inclusive. So I have listed up all the values. P set is a prime number and Q set is a multiple of 6. So the prime number amongst these numbers are 41, 43, and 47, and multiple of 6 amongst these numbers are 42 and 48. We need to find the number of elements for the set P. So there are 3 of them, so it will be 3. In part 2, list the members of Q. So that is 42 and 48. In part B, it says, in a group of 25 people, 11 people own both a bicycle and a skateboard. 6 people own neither a bicycle nor a skateboard. N people own a bicycle. We need to find the smallest and the largest possible values of n. So we can create a Venn diagram. B represents bicycle and S represents skateboard. Since 11 people own both of them, the number 11 can be placed in the intersection, and 6 must be placed outside since it represents neither of them owns a bicycle nor a skateboard. Now, since it says n people own a bicycle, one of the possible case could be, if this whole thing is n, then this will be n minus 11, which means n minus 11, which is this, plus 11 plus 6 must be equal to 25, because that is the total number of people in the group. Upon solving this equation, we get n is equals to 90, and that is the largest possible value. In another case, it can also be possible that no people only own a bicycle. That means the number 11 is the number of people who own both of them and also just the bicycle. There is no n minus 11 over here. That means 11 is the smallest value. Question number 19. In the diagram ABCD lie on the circle center O. AD is the diameter. The tangent to the circle at B meets the line DA. This is the tangent produced at T. So the lines are produced. The DA line is produced such that it meets at T. It is provided that AOB is 68 and CAO is 43. We need to find X. So this is the angle that we need to find. What we can do, let's focus on the triangle ADC only. And since the angle C got subtended by the 2 points of the semicircle, since AD is the diameter, we know that the angle in a semicircle subtended by the diameter is 90 degrees. So this must be 90. So we know this value. We also know that this is 43. So this is the third angle which we can easily find. Since this is 90, the other two must also add up to 90. So we can say 90 minus 43, which is 47, that must be the value of X. To find the value of Y, we can apply the logic. If you look closely at the points B and A, you can see that the angle BOA got subtended by B and A. Also, the angle BCA got subtended from B and A. So this is the center, and this point lies on the circumference. And we know from circle theorem that angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference if both are subtended from the same points. So if this is 68, this must be half of that. So 68 divided by 2 is 34. Then we need to find Z, which is this angle. Again, since O is the center, that means the line OB is the radius of the circle. And we also know that BT is a tangent. And the angle between the radius and the tangent is always 90 degrees. So we are provided with this angle, which is 68, and this is 90. That means the sum of these two remaining angles is also 90. So that will be 90 minus 68, which is 22, and that will be the angle for C. Then we need to find the angle T. So this is the angle that we need to find. By now we have found a lot of other unknowns, which is X, Y. So we can take the help, and if we focus on the quadrilateral OBCD, we can say, since it's a quadrilateral, the total angle inside this quadrilateral must be 360, since it's a quadrilateral. So 112 plus X plus 90 plus Y plus T must equal to 360. And we know the values of X and Y by now. We can use those values, and the only unknown left now in the equation is T. Upon solving, we can easily get the value of T, which is 77. Question number 20. 4 oil rigs are positioned at the vertices of a rectangle ABCD. The bearing of B from A is 40 degree. We need to find the bearing of A from B. We know that the angle is drawn where it says from something. So since it says the bearing of A from B, that means we need to go clockwise from north, starting from this point, clockwise all the way up to this line for AB. And that is the bearing that we need to find. So this is the bearing of A from B. Since this is 40 and both of these are vertical lines, these two angles must be alternate. So if this is 40, this is also 40, and the angle in a straight line is 180. So the required bearing must be 180 plus 40, which gives us 220. Then we need to find the bearing of C from B. That means the angle needs to be made at B. So the bearing of C from B. So to solve this, that means we just have to find this angle up to the line BC. Now since we know this whole red angle, which is 220, and we know that this is 90 degree, if we take away 90 from 220, we end up getting the bearing of C from B. So that will be 130. Then we need to find the bearing of C from D. So the bearing of C from D, that means the angle will be formed over here, starting clockwise from the north, and then we end up over here at line CD. If this is 40, this must also be 40, as these two angles are corresponding, because since it is a rectangle ABCD, these two lines must be parallel. And also these vertical lines are definitely parallel. So we can say these two are corresponding. So the angle is 40 degree. In part B, it says a supply helicopter is due to arrive at D at 8:15 a.m. It leaves its base at 7:33 and takes 49 minutes to fly to D. How many minutes late does it arrive at D? Let's first find the time when it reaches at D, then we can figure out how late it was. So 7:33 is the time of departure plus 49. So that gives us 9 plus 3 is 12, 4 plus 3 7 plus 1 8. So it is 7:82. Now since this is greater than 60 minutes, what we can do, we can take away 60 minutes and change the hour by +1. So 82 minus 60 is 22. And this 60 minutes is given over here. So it becomes 7 plus 1, 8 hours, 22 minutes. Or we can say 8:22 a.m. Now, since it was due at 8:15, but it reached at 8:22, that means 8:22 minus 8:15 gives us 7 minutes. So it was 7 minutes late. Question number 21. It says, on the grid, shade the region R given by these inequalities. X lies between 1 and 5 and Y lies between 2 and 4. So this is Y equals to 2 and Y equals to 4. And this is X equals to 1 and X equals to 5. So this is the region where you can label it as R. In the next following question, it says the line L with equation y equals to 1 over 3x is drawn on the grid. So this is the line L. We need to draw the line y equals to 1/3 of x plus k so that it passes through. So we need to draw the line y equals to 1/3 of x plus k so that it passes through a point belonging to R such that k is as large as possible. So since we have a positive k with the equation of line L, that means the line will shift vertically upwards by positive k. And not only that, it says that it needs to pass through a point belonging to R. This is the R region. So if we shift this line vertically upwards, we can position it over here because k needs to be as large as possible, and k is the y-intercept, because this equation is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. That means this is the y-intercept. So the largest possible value of k needs to be this, because this point of R, which is 1 and 4, is the largest value. Actually, this is the coordinate where this line can cut through for the maximum value of k. So that means we can take the point 1 and 4 as this line is passing through this point x1 and y4 in order to find the value of k. So 4 equals to 1/3 times 1 plus k. That means k is equals to 4 minus 1/3. That means 4 3s are 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. So k will be 11 over 3. Question number 22. It says the diagram shows the lines AB and BC. So these two lines were provided, AB and BC. The point D is 11 centimeter from A and 9 centimeter from C. So with the help of a ruler and a compass, we first can take the measurement of 11 centimeters And with the help of the compass, we can draw an arc like this for 11 centimeter, which is from A, and taking 9 centimeter from the point C, we can draw an arc over here. The intersecting point will be D. So we have just constructed the quadrilateral ABCD by connecting the lines A to D and C to D. On the diagram, construct the locus of points inside quadrilateral ABCD that are equidistant from B and C. So when we need to find the locus of the points from 2 points and equidistant, that means we have to draw the perpendicular bisector of the point B and C. So we take the length with the compass of B to C. Then we construct an arc from the point B over here and over here. Keeping the same length, we again draw an arc from the point C over here and over here. Then we need to form a straight line with these two intersecting arcs. But we must make sure that the line stays within the quadrilateral ABCD. As it says in the question, we need to construct the locus inside. So this red line satisfies the locus for the points which are equidistant from B and C. Then it says equidistant from AB and BC. That means from these two lines it has to be equidistant, which means we need to find the angle bisector of ABC. Angle bisector of the angle ABC. So for that, we take any particular length with the compass and we draw an arc from the point B over here and over here. Keeping the same length with the compass, we draw another arc from this point and another arc from this point. The line that will pass through B and the intersecting arcs will be the angle bisector of ABC, which is also equidistant from AB and BC. Again, as it was stated that we need to construct the locus of points inside. That means this red line also must stay within the quadrilateral ABCD. Then it says these two loci meet at point P. So as you can see, these two locus meet at the point P. We need to label it, as they have stated that we need to label the point P, and we need to measure the length dp. So if you measure the length dp with the help of the ruler, you get around 5.8 centimeters. Question number 23. Kim and Lee run a 2000 meter cross-country course that starts at P and ends at Q. Lee starts 1 minute after Kim. Their distance time graphs are shown in the diagram. So this is a distance time graph. We need to find the distance Lee has run when he overtakes Kim. This is a very easy question. We just have to find the intersecting point of the two graphs. That will be the distance where Lee overtakes Kim. So this point, and since we need to tell the distance, so we need to look on the y-axis of the intersecting point. So the y coordinate on the for the intersecting point is 1450, because there are 10 boxes between 1000 and 1500, and each box is just 50 units. So this is two boxes will be, every two boxes will be 100. So 100, 200, 300, 400. So that means this is 450. That means this is 1450. Then it says, find how much longer Kim takes to complete the course than Lee. So let's look at the graph again. So now we look into the time as well. As you can see that in the question it stated Lee starts 1 minute after Kim. That means this is the graph for Lee and this is the graph for Kim, as Lee has started 1 minute after. And you can see the time when they both reach 2000 meters. For Lee, it is 10.8. Every box is representing 0.2 units. So this must be 10.8. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 boxes to go from 10 to 11. That means each box must be of 0.2, and this must be 10.8. And this is 12. So 12 minus 10.8 is 1.2. That means Lee has completed the course 1.2 minutes earlier. But since Lee started 1 minute after, so that means it's not just 1.2, but 1.2 plus 1, which is 2.2. So 2.2 minutes extra was required for Kim to complete the course than Lee. Lee started 1 minute after and completed 1.2 minutes before. Therefore, Kim took 2.2 minutes longer. In part C, Melvin starts 3 minutes after Kim. He runs the course in the opposite direction to that taken by Kim and Lee. He runs at a constant speed and takes 10 minutes to reach P. On the diagram, draw the distance time graph for Melvin. So before we draw the distance time graph for Melvin, we need to consider a few things that is already provided. And that is, Melvin starts 3 minutes after Kim. He runs the course in the opposite direction. He runs at a constant speed and takes 10 minutes. So for opposite direction, that means starts at the 3 minutes mark, and it also travels 2000 meters, but in the opposite direction. So that means it will start over here and it will end over here, since Melvin takes 10 minutes. So 3 plus 10 minutes is 13 minutes. And of course, this will be a straight line graph. since Melvin travels at a constant speed. Hence, we have a straight line gradient. Then it says, express Melvin's speed in kilometer per hour. So first, let's figure out what is the speed of Melvin in meter per minute, which is provided in the graph. As you can see, the graph says meters per minute. So this is the distance divided by the time. So it is 200 meters per minute. So we need to change this to kilometer per hour. That means 200 times 60. This 60 is for converting the minutes to hour. And we need to divide it by 1000 because we are converting the meter to kilometer. So it will be 12,000 over 1000, which is equal to 12 kilometer per hour. If we had to go from kilometer per hour to meter per minute, we would have multiplied it with 1000 and divided it with 60. But since we are going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, we do the opposite. So it will be times 60 divided by 1000, which gives 12 kilometer per hour. Question number 24. The diagram shows triangle A and B. Triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by an enlargement. So this image got mapped from this object. We need to find the scale factor and the center of this enlargement. So what we can do is connect the respective points of the triangles with a straight line. The intersecting points of the lines is the center of enlargement. So as you can see, it is at 0, 2. And since the image got inverted, and of course to the opposite side of the center, and it enlarged by scale factor 2, the way we found scale factor 2 is if you choose any side, let's say this side, we have 2 units. After enlargement, this side became 1, 2, 3, 4. So it got doubled. But since the image got inverted, we need to say the scale factor is -2. Part B is not in the syllabus at the moment. Question number 25. A bag contains 5 balls, of which 3 are red and 2 are blue. One ball is taken at random from the bag and is not replaced. If this ball is red, another ball is taken. If it is red, another ball is taken at random from the bag and is not replaced. This process is repeated until a blue ball is taken from the bag. Part of the tree diagram that represents these outcomes is drawn below. So which were these two? We need to complete the tree diagram. So as you can see, if you get to choose the red ball in the first place, you get to choose again. The next time you choose, and since you are not replacing it, that means the total number of balls in the bag has decreased by 1. So now the total is 4, And since you have taken one red already, you are left with two of them, but blue remains unchanged as you have not selected a blue from the first choice. And after that, if you get to choose red again, that means again the denominator will be decreased by 1, and since you have taken a red once more, it also decreased by 1. So it is 1/3, and the blue remains the way it was, which is 2. So the total fraction is 2/3. And then if you get to choose red again, that means you will be left with no red balls out of 2 total, and blue remains unchanged. So this is the complete tree diagram. Then it says, expressing each answer as a fraction, find the probability that the second ball taken is blue. So first you get to choose red, or else you won't be able to go to the second choice. So that means the events are followed by each other, of course. So it will be 3/5. Then you get to choose the blue ball. So this 2/4 is basically this. After multiplying, you get 6/20, which can be simplified to 3/10 if you divide both the numerator and denominator by 2. Then it says we need to find the probability that a blue ball is the second or the third. So the term or means we need to add them up eventually. But first, let's find that the second ball is a blue one. So we have already found in the first part of the question that the second ball blue is 3/10. Now for the third ball to be blue, that means we take a red, then a red, and then a blue. And since the events are followed by each other, we need to multiply the fractions. So 3/5 times 2/4 times 2/3. Simplifying, we get 12/60. If we divide both the numerator and the denominator by 12, we get 1/5. Because 12 times 1 is 12 and 12 times 5 is 60. Now, since it was a OR case, we need to add these two options. It can be either this or this. So 1/5 plus 3/10, which gives us, after taking LCM, we get 10 in the denominator. 5 times 2 is 10, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3, which is 5/10. Dividing both of the numbers by 2, we get 1/2. So the probability is 1/2. Question number 26. A pattern of numbers is given below. So row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. We need to write down the row 10. So we need to make some observations. As you can see, if you look closely into the pattern, what's happening here is we have 1, 2, then 2, 3, then 3, 4, then 4, 5. And on the right hand side, it is again 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. That means if row 1 is 1, 2, row 2 is 2, 3, that means row 10 will be 10, 11. On the right hand side again, 1/10 minus 1/11. And that's the answer. Then it says adding the first two rows gives the result this. Adding the first three rows gives the result this. Now again we need to make some observations before we write down the result of adding the first 4 rows. The informations provided were for adding the first 2 rows and first 3 rows. So what happened here, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 2, 3, Then we have 1, 3, which gives us a fraction of 2 over 3. And for adding the first three rows, we have 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. And on the right hand side, we have 1, 4. So the observation which you can make is for the first two rows, they added, they chose this number 1 and 3, which is this and this. And for adding three rows, again, they chose this number, which it began with, and it ended with 4. So 1 and 4. And you can also see the fraction, what's happening. For adding first two rows, we get 2 over 3. For two rows, 2 over 3. For three rows, 3 over 4. So now let's use this knowledge to find the result for adding first 4 rows. So it will be 1 over 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4, 4 into 5. Because we are adding the first 4 rows. As you can see, for 3 rows, it started with 1, it ended with 4. So for first 4 rows, it will start with 1 and end with 5. And also, this was 1 over 1 minus 1 over 4. So this will be 1 over 1 minus 1 over 5. And since it's the addition of first 4 rows, for 3 rows, it was 3 over 4. For 2 rows, it was 2 over 3. That means for 4 rows, it will be 4 over 5. And that is the answer. Then it says, use the pattern to write down the value of this. So these are the values of adding first 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows. And as you can see that if it starts with 1 and ends with 20, it will be 19 over 20. The reason is, if you look at the pattern again, for 2 rows, it was 2 over 3. For 3 rows, 3 over 4. For 4 rows, 4 over 5. So that means these values eventually came because it started with 1 and then ended with 3. This one, the 3 rows started with 1, ended with 4. So this number comes in the denominator. As you can see, 3 is over here, 3 is over here, 4 is over here, and 4 is over here. Similarly, 5 is over here, 5 is also over here. So that means the number that it ends with is in the denominator, and on the numerator, it is 1 minus. So you have 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. So this will be 1920. The number of rows that add up to 109 over 110. So we need to tell the number of rows that needs to be added. So 2 rows gives 2 over 3, 3 rows gives 3 over 4, 4 rows gives 4 over 5. So 109 rows must give 109 over 10. So the answer is 109. We need to provide an expression in terms of n for the result of adding the first n rows. So if 109 rows is 109 over 10 or 110, that means n rows will be n over n plus 1, and that is the expression. And that will be the last question. That is all for now. I will see you in the next video.